sounds odd that I want you to smile, but the more you smile, the better your mindfulness becomes. The better your mindfulness becomes, the easier it is to progress with your meditation. So please smile all the time. Smile with your mind. Smile with your eyes, even when your eyes are closed. You'd be surprised how much tension and tightness you hold in your eyes. A little smile on your face and a smile in your heart. When you start practicing loving kindness meditation, you first start by sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself. The first 10 minutes of every sitting, I want you to radiate loving kindness to yourself. You remember a time when you were happy, when that happy feeling arises. It's a nice, glowing, warm feeling in the center of your chest. It's like the first time you held a baby in your arms and you felt that connection. Or a puppy or kitten. And once you have that feeling arise, then you make a wish for your own happiness. May I be happy. May my mind be peaceful and calm. When you make a wish, you want to feel the wish. You know what it feels like to be happy. Then put that feeling in your heart and radiate that feeling to yourself. You know what it feels like to be peaceful and calm. Then take that feeling and put it in the center of your heart and radiate that to yourself. While you do this, your mind is going to wander. You're going to start thinking about other things. As soon as you notice that your mind has gone away from sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself, you recognize that your mind is distracted. You release the distraction. You release the distraction by not keeping your attention on it. So you see that this distraction has come up, just let it be there by itself. Don't keep your attention on it. I know that there's some forms of meditation where they tell you that you have to note it until it goes away. That is not right effort. So, right after you let it go, relax tension and tightness in your head, in your mind. Now your brain basically has 2 lobes in it, and there's a membrane that goes around your brain. And every time you have a thought, every time there's a feeling, every time there's a sensation, your brain expands out against that membrane and causes tension and tightness to arise. That tension and tightness is craving. That's how you recognize craving when it arises. It's tension and tightness in your head, in your mind. It's not big. It's just a little slight tension. So you relax and let it be. When you relax and let it be, you'll notice right after that you don't have any distracting thoughts. Your mind is clear, your mind is alert. Bring that clear, alert, pure mind to something that's wholesome, and that is smile. As soon as you smile, then bring that mind back to your object of meditation. Stay with your object of meditation as long as you can. This is what I call the 6 R's. And you're going to hear me talk about it so much, you're going to be tired of hearing it. Okay, 6 R's is right effort, according to the Eightfold Path. This will take you all the way to arahatship. It's real important. Now this relaxed step, I said it was craving, and it is. But what is craving? Craving is the I like it, I don't like it mind. I like it when there's a pleasant feeling arise. I don't like it when there's a painful feeling that arises. So you allow it to be. Whatever feeling that is that arises, let it be there by itself and relax. Then smile. Come back to your object of meditation. Stay with your object of meditation as long as you can. The first day of a retreat is generally what I call the first day blues, because your mind is still out there thinking about this or that. And you'll have some sloth and torpor, you'll have restlessness, your mind is not going to be very settled at all. But that is the hardest part of the retreat, is the first day. So don't get upset if it's not going the way you want it the first day. The second day is much easier, I promise. It doesn't matter how many times your mind is distracted. What matters is what you do with the distraction when it arises. Now, if you have like little tiny thoughts that are coming in while you're staying with your object of meditation, if it doesn't pull your attention away, ignore those thoughts and just stay with your object of meditation. Stay with wishing yourself well. Okay? Only when your attention gets pulled away, then you use the 6 R's and come back. Okay? Now, distractions are not your enemy to fight with. They actually are your teachers. They teach you where your hindrances are. What is the cause of hindrances arising? Because in the past you have broken precepts. In other words, you have, let's say, said something that wasn't true. Okay? Asia, the big thing is you never tell somebody the truth if you can give them a little white lie instead. The little white lie is still a lie. And that causes you to have a guilty feeling. There's a little voice in your mind that says, I shouldn't have done that. I know it's not the right thing to do. And that causes a false belief in a personal self. So every time a hindrance arises, it pulls your attention away from your object of meditation. Every time that happens, it is because in the past you broke a precept. Now, I'm going to have you taking the precepts every morning, not as a rite and ritual. I don't want you just repeating it while you're thinking about other stuff. You take the precepts with a serious mind and get in the habit of keeping the precepts, and that makes your meditation that much better. Okay, your mind will settle down a lot quicker as you keep the precepts. When a hindrance arises, it is telling you it's time to let go of that guilty feeling. And that's what using the 6 R's is all about. When you let go of that wrong belief in a personal self, when you relax, and then there's no distraction in your mind, you have purified your mind right then. And you bring that pure mind to something wholesome. Smile. Now, one of the things that is very confusing for a lot of people that are doing meditation is the word mindfulness. It seemed to catch on real big in America, and all of a sudden you're hearing about mindfulness of sexual activity and mindfulness of making money and all kinds of mindfulness. I went to a conference and gave a talk at a mindfulness conference. 2 days of people talking about mindfulness. And they talked about it. But when I got up and I started asking them questions, now this was a group of 400 or 500 people. And they're all pretty well practiced in meditation. So I said, you've heard about mindfulness? What's the definition of mindfulness? And it got quiet. Interesting. So I said, I'm going to give you a definition of mindfulness that works 100% of the time. Mindfulness is remembering to observe how mind's attention moves from one thing to another. So your mind is with your sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself. And all of a sudden you're thinking about this or that. How did that happen? What happened first? What happened after that? What happened after that? So mindfulness means closer observation of what is arising in your mind. When you observe that your mind is pulled away, then you use the 6 R's and come back. So look forward to your first day being kind of active, and your mind is going to be dull, and then it's going to be overactive, and don't take it too personally. It's just your mind going crazy for a little while. Mind does that, and it's okay for it to do that. There's three things that I want you to do on this retreat. One, I want you to smile a lot. Two, I want you to laugh. And I want you to have fun. Have you ever heard a meditation teacher tell you to do that? Only the people that I teach. One of the things that happens, especially if you've done other retreats, is you're told by the teacher you have to try harder. And when you try harder, you have more hindrances arise because you're putting in too much effort, too much energy. And your progress is really not very good because your mind starts to get hard. So when I tell you I want you to have fun, I really sincerely mean it. Have fun with the meditation. Don't be serious with it. Play with it like it's a game. Okay? You start getting serious, what happens? Well, then you start pushing a little bit, and you try to control a little bit, and your meditation goes down the tubes, and you come and you start complaining to me like I had something to do with it. And you know what I'm going to tell you? You're not having fun. You're being over serious. You have repeat thoughts. Well, what do you think repeat thoughts, why do they come up? Just like they're on a tape deck, they come up. Why? Because you're trying to control. You're trying to make your mind be the way you want it to be. You're not backing off. You're trying to push. And that means you have a big attachment. I want. And you have to let that go. The whole point of learning about craving is the very start of the false belief in the personal self begins at craving. And I know the Eightfold Path, and I know that it says that it's not until clinging that you really take on the personal belief. But that's not the start of it. The start of it is at craving. I promise you that's correct. Don't try to do things too fast. You notice that your mind is distracted. Okay, let it be, relax, smile, and come back. The less you take things personally, the better your meditation becomes. And this is real important. Now, when you were in school and you had a class that you really liked, what kind of grade did you get in that class? Good grades, right? Why? Because it was fun. Well, life is supposed to be fun. Oh, no, that's not the first noble truth. Everything in life is suffering. No, that's not the first noble truth. The first noble truth is there is suffering in life. Yeah, that's a noble truth. But not everything in life is suffering. As a matter of fact, the Buddha said there's a right way to teach and a wrong way to teach. And the wrong way to teach is everything in life is suffering. The right way to teach, there is cessation of suffering. Let's look for the way out. When you're sitting listening to the Dhamma talk, please do not cross your arms. This is a thinking posture. It blocks your heart. And you only hear about 60% of what's being said. So.
And also I'll add, please don't cross your legs like this.
So, after about 10 minutes of sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself, then you pick a spiritual friend. A spiritual friend is someone of the same sex. They are alive, not a member of your family. A spiritual friend is someone that when you think of them, you have respect for them. You really do wish them well. Not everybody is going to be perfect. They're going to have their own flaws, but don't think about their flaws, just wish them well. Okay? So, as soon as you start sending loving and kind thoughts to your spiritual friend, a lot of people try to do a visualization of their friend. And a lot of people are not very good at visualization. I'm not good at visualization. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes it's fuzzy. Sometimes it's like the bad reception on the television. It's always little sparkly things. Sometimes it's like it's a long ways away. Sometimes it just flat disappears. It doesn't matter. You know who you're sending your friend, your loving kindness to. That's enough of a visualization. Now, sometimes people get real caught up and they really have to try hard to oh, I'm having so many problems with visualizing. Well, you put in the wrong kind of effort, it makes it harder. Your mind becomes more scattered. You become frustrated. Even get a little bit angry because it's not going the way you want it to. Well, stop demanding that it be that way. If you can visualize, you can see them like a picture in front of you, fine. But when it disappears, never mind, you know who you're sending it to. That's enough. You only want about 5% of your attention on the visualization anyway. About 20% of your attention on making a wish and feeling the wish. The rest of the time, the 75% of your attention on the feeling of loving kindness. So you make a wish, feel the wish. Take your friend, put them right in the middle of that wish and give them a heart hug. Stay with your friend as long as you can. If thoughts come up but they don't pull your attention away, ignore the thoughts. Just stay with your friend. The more sincerely you wish them happiness, the faster your progress becomes in the meditation. The more you smile, the better your meditation becomes. Smiling helps your mindfulness to get stronger. It really does work that way. And you'll notice when your mindfulness is good, when your mind, you start slipping away and your mind starts getting heavy. Well, then 6R right then, let it go. Don't get involved in the story about things. Don't make a big deal out of stuff. Gotcha. So, one of the things you're going to notice is sloth and torpor. Why does sloth and torpor arise? Sloth and torpor arises because you're not taking enough interest in staying with your spiritual friend. What happens is you're with your spiritual friend and then your mind starts to ho-hum just a bit and think little tiny thoughts of this and that, and before long you start getting dreamy. And before long your posture starts to slump. And then after that your head starts bobbing. Sound familiar? Yeah, I know that one too. So, sit straighter than usual. Sit a little bit straighter so it almost hurts. And then when your mind starts slumping, you'll catch it more quickly and you'll be able to straighten up and come back. The biggest problem with sloth and torpor is your head starts bobbing a little bit and then you notice it and then you try to sit up really fast and you say, okay, now I'm really going to stay with my object a minute. Take an interest in how the process works. That's real important. So, try to see every little part of sloth and torpor, or every little part of having a scattered mind. What happens first? Take an interest in it. Smile into it. Have fun with it. Don't get over serious. I've done a lot of meditation. I've done a lot of retreats with a lot of different people. And it's always amazed me that when I walk into where people are doing meditation, there's a lot of frowning. And really trying hard. And what happens to my mind now is my mind goes, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going someplace else where it's peaceful. It's because everybody's trying so hard. And that's a true hindrance to your practice. When you see that you're starting to get a headache, it's because you're trying too hard. Back off. Don't try so hard. Kind of laugh with yourself because you're trying to control. And it's really ridiculous to try to control a feeling, right? You don't ask feelings to come up. You don't say, I haven't had a feeling, I haven't had a pain in my back in a long time. I might as well have a pain now. It comes up because conditions are right for it to arise. What you do with what arises in the present dictates what happens in the future. If you fight with what happens in the present, if you try to control it, make it be the way you want it to be, that's a cause of suffering. And you are causing your own suffering. You can't blame anybody else for your suffering. You are doing it to yourself. You're trying to control, you're trying to make it be the way you want it to be. Doesn't work, I guarantee. Or you can use the 6 R's and say, okay, that feeling is there, so what? It's only a feeling. Yeah, but it hurts. Okay, so it's painful. So? It's not yours anyway. Why fight with it? Why try to control it? Allow it to be there by itself. Now there is a difference between real pain and meditation pain. Real pain is, let's say you have a pain in your back, and you always have a pain in your back. So you sit for a little while and it starts hurting, and then you get up and you start walking and the pain doesn't go away. That's real pain. I want you to sit in a posture that is more comfortable. Sometimes you need to have a pillow that you can put in the small of your back. And that's enough. That will help it so that it doesn't cause you a lot of pain. Sometimes if you pick one foot up a little bit higher than the other and put a pillow underneath, sometimes that straightens things out enough so you don't have pain. It's okay to experiment with that. I want you to sit as long as you can without having serious pain. Meditation pain, it's just as painful, sometimes even more so. But when you get up and you start walking, the pain goes away in a minute or two. Oh, that's a meditation pain. I should sit through that. Don't give in to it. But look at what your mind does with the pain. I don't like it. I want it to stop. I want it to go away. Every thought about the pain makes the pain bigger and more intense, and it turns into an emergency, and you can't stand it anymore. Who doesn't like it? Who wants it to go away? Who wants to control it? Anytime you make a big deal out of anything, I don't care whether it's a physical pain or a mental pain, you make a big deal out of it in your mind, it's going to stay for a long time and cause you all kinds of problems. When you have thoughts come up, and it's kind of an interesting thought, then I think I'll stick with this one for a little while. Oops. What if it's such an interesting thought? Mentally put a red flag on it and say, after the retreat, we'll have that thought come back. Don't pay attention to it right now. Don't make a big deal out of any kind of thought or feeling that arises. It's just causing your mind to get scattered, and you'll hear a lot more about that tomorrow. So, I want you to start by sitting no less than a half an hour. Now, there are some people that have been doing meditation with me for a while. I don't want you sending loving kindness to a spiritual friend. I want you to do the 6 directions, and you know what I mean by that. Start with loving kindness. But everybody else, stay with the same spiritual friend until I tell you to change. Okay? Now, I'm not going to be giving interviews tomorrow. You need a day of practice before we have something to talk about. But day after tomorrow, I'll start seeing everybody every day. Okay? So, when your sitting is good, sit longer. Okay? This is a natural process. And there's going to be some times that your meditation is going to be real good, and you'll just stay with it. Just because you hear a bell for breakfast doesn't mean you have to break your sitting. When your sitting is good, stay with the sitting. We'll make sure you get enough food. Don't worry about it. And the same with lunch. If your sitting is really good, don't break your sitting just because of food. The precepts that I give you, or I'll have David give to you, is not eating solid food after the noonday meal. Now the noonday meal for me is 11 o'clock. But it's not the same for you. The noonday meal might be 12:30 or 1 o'clock. If your sitting is good, stay with the sitting until it's time to break, and then you can come and get some food. Okay? Now, when you get up from your sitting, I want you to do your walking meditation, and that means staying with your spiritual friend while you're walking. Don't walk slowly. You're walking for exercise. You're walking to stretch out your muscles in your legs, because you're not going to be used to sitting for as long as you will. So, while you're walking, keep your eyes down. If you're looking around, there goes your mind, and then now you're thinking about something else. But your mind is going to do that at first anyway, because you're not used to doing a walking meditation. Your mind gets distracted, fine. Don't get angry with yourself. Don't pull your mind around and say, no, it's got to stay here. Be gentle, be kind to yourself. Just notice that your mind is thinking about something else. 6R. Come back. Stay with your friend as long as you can. Doesn't matter how many times your mind distracts. What matters is what you do with the distraction. So you use the 6Rs, and that helps you a lot. Okay? Walk for 15, 20 minutes. If your walking is good, walk longer. Up to 45 minutes. Any more than that, you start getting tired from walking. So when you come back, then you start by sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself. After 10 minutes, then you stay with your spiritual friend. While you're taking a shower, stay with your spiritual friend. Smile. While you're going to the toilet, smile. Stay with your spiritual friend. Wish them happiness all the time. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Now, this is a noble silence retreat. which means I really don't want you to talk. If you talk to somebody else, you're disturbing their meditation, you're disturbing your own meditation. And your progress is going to be lousy. But please don't do that. The only person that is legal to talk to is either me or David. Okay? So please don't compare notes. Don't tell somebody I had a really good sitting. That's your business, it's not anybody else's business. Don't talk, please. Now, before you go to sleep at night, there's two things I want you to do. One is I want you to make a determination what time you're going to wake up in the morning. And try to wake up at exactly that time. But don't make it at the same time every morning. Don't just say, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock. Make it 4:59 sometimes. Make it 5:01 sometimes. Change it around. Try to hit that as close as you can. That will help your meditation in the future. This is not an easy practice, so it takes a while to get used to that. Also, I want you to make a determination that when you wake up in the morning, you're going to wake up smiling and happy. And keep it going. Okay? So, more smiles, more happy. Light mind. Okay? So after a couple of days of doing the practice, you might wake up in the middle of the night. Instead of rolling over and going back to sleep, try sitting in the bed. Sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't, and that's okay either way. But if you can do it, it's really good, quiet time. From about 2 in the morning till about 5, it's psychically very quiet, so you can have some really good meditation at that time. But if your mind says, no, I'm going to go back to sleep, well, okay, go back to sleep. That's up to you. It's only a suggestion. Okay? I'll make sure you get enough rest during the day, so you're not going to walk around sleepy all the time. Okay? Anything you can think?
I have a few things I'm going to go over with them after you go, and just little housekeeping things, but yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Must have been a great talk. You don't have any questions? Just so
Bhante,
you,
I have trouble to generate loving kindness to myself, I guess because I used to expect other people to shower me kindness and love.
I will talk to you about that when you come for your meditation. Okay? Or you come for your interview. Anything else? I'll tell you. One of the things the Buddha said in the suttas, and it's really there, if you don't ask questions, then say you're reborn as a human being in the next lifetime, you're going to be reborn stupid. I don't have that kind of problem. I was with my teacher for 2 years, every day, and I asked him 20 or 25 questions a day. And he told me, he said, you know, it says in the sutta that if you ask the teacher a lot of questions, that you're going to be reborn smarter than Einstein. Don't be shy to ask questions. That's the whole point. Okay? Yeah.
So I have a question. For those who are radiating loving kindness to a spiritual friend, you said that to maintain mindfulness in daily life, or to stay with that spiritual friend. But for those who are radiating the 6 directions,
Do the 6 directions.
okay.
Everybody will catch up to you before long, don't worry. One of the reasons that I teach this kind of meditation is your progress is faster with this meditation than it is with any other meditation you can learn. And it really does work quickly if you follow the directions without adding something or have we taken away telephones from people?
No.
We have to take away telephones. Can't have them. Oh, but I need to have my... No, you don't. So please give David your telephone. He'll put your name on it so you can get it back. But you don't want to be having the temptation. Okay? Yeah.
Bhante, if you're having physical pain and it's less than half an hour, can you move, get up and move?
You can't move. You can move as much as he does. See, let me explain. Physical pain, where does it start? Mind is the forerunner of all states. Okay, you're doing mental development. When you give in and you have to move, who has to move? Who doesn't like it? Who is causing them self-distraction? Okay? Yeah.
And could you elaborate a bit more about this center, the chest? Because I don't know what's the... I of course can generate loving kindness, but I don't know what it means to be in the center of the chest.
That's where it comes from. Have you ever held a little baby in your arms?
No.
You haven't held
Keep
it.
hitting
Have
it.
you ever held a young animal in your arms and you had a connection and
Yes,
it's
yes,
a
yes.
warm
Yes.
connection? It's not a mental connection. It's a physical connection.
So I should feel it here.
That's right. But don't push it out. Let it radiate out by itself. Okay? You smile more. You'll see. And the more you smile, the easier it gets. And it's amazing how few smiles I'm seeing. Look when you smile, look at what it does to your mind. Your mind feels uplifted, light. That's the kind of mind you want to develop. Okay?
One big quick question. We say this 6-hour process. We say we don't need to hurry about the process. Like, take time for the 6 hours. Let everything go step by step.
It'll do it on its own.
So sometimes try to be faster. It just appears to be not
Well,
working.
and you can get yourself a very nice headache when you try to push it.
That's okay.
That's up to you.
Okay.
Remember, you're teaching yourself the meditation. You are your own teacher. I'm not your teacher. I am just a guide. I'm going to make sure you stay on the path. If you start to play around with other meditations that you've done, maybe I can add this to it or take that away because I don't want to do that. You're going to make your meditation progress very slow. And I'm going to question you, why? Why are you doing that? Don't do that. I've given you precise instructions. Just follow those instructions. I don't care what you've done before. If you've been doing I did mindfulness breathing for 20 years before I started doing this meditation. You know how long it took me to let go of mindfulness of breathing? One day. I made up my mind. I'm just going to stay with the loving kindness. Don't make it into a big deal. Just stay with the loving kindness. See, experiment with this meditation only, and you'll get good results, I promise. It really does work this way. Okay? Anything else?
And for the transition from yourself to the spiritual friend, should we just guess the 10 minutes?
Yeah. If it feels like 10 minutes, then go with that. Now there might be some time that you feel like you need to send more loving kindness to yourself. Okay, fine. Do that. No problem. Okay? Anybody else? Yeah.
Let's say the spiritual friend, if it's somebody that you haven't seen for like 20 years, you don't know if they're alive or not, do you still do it with them, or should you pick somebody else?
Difficult question. You don't know whether they're alive or not. That's a hard one. If you send loving kindness to someone that's dead, it doesn't go anywhere. You're going to try to radiate that to them, and you're not going to feel their presence at all. So that's how you know whether they're still alive or not. And it's better to pick somebody that you know personally, that you do respect and you do wish them well. When Mother Teresa was still alive in India, there was a lot of women that they wanted to radiate loving kindness to them, and they found it was difficult because they didn't know her person. It's a little bit easier if you know the person personally and you do have respect for her. But that's up to you. Okay? Let's share some merit then. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.